Welcome back to the Playhouse. If you're catching us here, go back and watch from the beginning. I don't know how many episodes we are in, but this you've probably just been caught by the title of this, and you want to hear it.
Yes.
But watch from the beginning because the journey has been amazing. Okay, Sally, let's talk about Africa to Gucci, or how you ended up going to Gucci. Tell us about that story.
Yeah. So, like everything, like I say, everything is a normal day, and we get an email from Gucci. I think it's a mistake. How do you get? Whether we want to be part of this very first initiative of a fellowship program that he was doing for the nation, or just not Africa, but the continent.
The world.
The world, yeah.
The world.
The world, yeah. So I was thinking, but of course, first, initially I was not involved. My dean was more involved initially, because I thought it doesn't sound right. Anyway, so
too
they
good
told
to be
us,
true.
Too good to be true.
Yeah.
So they told us, then we have 15 students who are interested, let them know. And they're giving us very, very short time. So we got the 15 students, rounded them up together, and then they gave us a theme, which was freedom. What do you understand by it? And how can you interpret the word freedom in fashion? First, obviously, there's always the story before the sketches. So the students did so. And out of the 15, we knew they were only going to pick 5. But even the ones we thought they would pick, it's not what they picked. They picked a different crowd. I was like, oh, well, these people think differently, you know. So anyway, we're like, everybody's a winner. For me, I always tell my students, everybody's a winner. So then after that, we did a Skype interview. They interviewed every designer who had been picked and why they chose.
And they got them from your school?
School here.
This place that we're in right now?
We are right here.
Whoa.
And the Skype was here. So they Skyped, and they interviewed the same thing they wrote, because they wanted to make sure these are the students. Then after that, now they started sending out contract letters. And one of the things was, we were not to discuss this with anyone until the whole program is over. So we couldn't discuss it with anyone.
No media, no nothing.
No nothing. And then after that, we went to the embassy. We got our visas. It was not a big deal. Gucci is a treasure to Italy. So getting a visa, we were
with
not
the name Gucci,
yeah,
we're
already in. So they had organized everything, even here at the embassy. So we just
gave us passports,
and then just to get the thing. Then they paid for everything: our trip, our food, our accommodation, and we were not sharing rooms. Everybody was staying in their own room. And everything, our bus trips, everything, they treated us like
10-star.
You know, like stars. And then we went and saw what he does, went to his workshops. My goodness, if Kenya or Africa, we haven't even scratched what I saw. You know, people always think, oh, Sally, you've made it. Oh, no, I have not made it, please. We are far, very, very far. And I was just telling myself, you know, these guys have been here for 100 years, you know, and we still have a few years to go, you know, or maybe even shorter. But one of the surprising things that I heard from them is that they would love to come to Africa, but we don't have the infrastructure. So even in their plan, they will not think about Africa. And I totally agree with them. Which street in our street can we call a high street in Kenya? Where? You know? And when you think about all these nations, all these international nations, like in London, we have the Bond Street, High Street. Beverly Hills, Rodeo Drive is High Street. You know, so you find all these big houses and their even the building itself. It's beautiful, but I don't think we're ready yet. Yeah. So I just told myself, yes, we have gotten this far. We have examples to look through. It was nice to collaborate, and I pray we continue to collaborate, because he was the first designer to do this, and I believe others will rise up and do the same.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah. We were the first school to be chosen in East Africa. And imagine, no one has known this. You're the one who's interviewing me for the first time. We got a winner from our school who is going to go back.
So, what are you allowed to say what happened when you went? Are you allowed to talk about the experience?
Yes, we did, yeah.
Okay, so for example, you of course toured their facility.
Yeah, we toured their facilities. They took us to see Rome. We did the tour thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to Florence, where Gucci started everything.
You had the history, everything.
The history about Gucci and everything. And then the last day is the day the students went out to showcase all their portfolios and their work.
So as part of going there, this theme that you had said, freedom, you needed to create works based on that theme, that you are now going to go and take and showcase.
Yeah, not to take.
Yeah.
We had already sent it.
Oh.
So they wanted to create their own portfolios of how they wanted it to be presented.
I get.
So now, what's his name? The designer behind Gucci, Alexandro. Yeah, and also the team that he works with.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible. When I went there, I couldn't believe it's the papers that had been sent by my students. I mean, it had been put in great portfolios. I mean, they spend money in this thing while I...
But do you feel that Africa has something to offer?
Oh, yes. We have so much to offer. I think the thing is, we don't know it ourselves.
That's why they're calling us.
Yeah, that's why they're borrowing from us.
What do you mean? Explain that philosophy of borrowing from us.
I've been at school, right? I'll talk about myself. If I had taken a collection as a commercial to New York, they would have forgotten it that quickly. Understand? But because I took a Turkana inspired collection, now I've been called by San Francisco, Miami. I've been called everywhere, you know, because of just that Turkana collection, because they've never seen it.
From our 44 tribes, you just taken one.
I just took one. And I have based everything in my life on these Turkana people. And they don't even know me, I don't know them, but it's okay. They inspire me, you know? And that's when I realized that there's so much potential that's totally untapped in our nation. And we as designers, we don't even know it. That is what they're waiting for.
For us to first figure out what we know.
What we know.
Yeah. To figure out what we have.
Otherwise, they'll get it from us and it will become theirs. And then they'll put patent, all those things on them, copyright, all those sort of things. And yet it is our culture.
That's powerful, but also almost upsetting. We are the ones asleep on what we have.
Totally.
From fashion to music to everything. Food. Because everything. What you're saying, as much as this channel, I've always been interviewing musicians, I'm even happy to see the diversity, the difference about it. I can take exactly what you're saying and replicate it in music and say, why are we trying to sound like them? Let us sound like ourselves and add us into it. So for example, you added your urbanness into what the Turkana had.
Yeah. And it's all, and I always tell my students, look into Africa. Everything came from Africa. It's just that the Western world, they knew what it is that they wanted to use or see in Africa and use it for themselves to create all these things that we see. One shoulder, where did it come from? It came from our culture. One shoulder dress. How did our shows? They just used to wear and they're off to garden. You know, when you think about fashion and the history of fashion of Africa, we don't even have books on history of fashion in Africa. We don't even have history of our culture, of African fashion in Africa, or even in Kenya. Let me just bring it home. Yeah. So that's why for me, the cultures of the Samburu, all these guys, Maasai, all these people who have preserved their culture, it is what is going to make nations like Africa really grow, even the industry of anything.
That is such a revelation.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had it, but not the way. We should be happy about our, what they call our shags of backwardness.
Yes.
Is our wealth.
It's our wealth.
Because it's untampered.
Totally. The women who go and pick tea, do you know what collection we can do with that?
With the
Yeah, with everything that they have.
Remember the Japanese tried to patent kyondo, and there was an uproar. Kyondo.
Yeah, kyondo, our kyondos. You know, there's so much that we can do with everything that we have in Kenya.
So in your school, let's go back a bit now to the school. In fact, let me go back into a bit of the curriculum and what you're talking. Of course, I came in for just a bit of your class to get a bit of content. But I was very impressed first and foremost that you're hands-on. As people may not, it's not that because I was coming you went there. You're already doing this. I asked, can I come in and just catch a few of these clips? But so I like the fact that I can tell that you're teaching them what the gold that you've learned from London and all those places. Of course, you're teaching them your experience, but history. Are you teaching them history, or are you teaching them to go back?
We teach. I always tell them. We also teach history of fashion, but we base it mostly on the centuries that have passed, 18th, 16th, 19th, many years ago. But when we look in our own history, we don't have history. Students, unless they are researchers, even when you go into the internet, I try to research history of housing in Africa or in Kenya. How did people used to live? Them days long ago. How did people used to wear? We don't have much. Yeah. So I was amazed by that. But there is something that we should have preserved. That was our history. When we say that people who went to Gurario weddings, they wore one shoulder leather, all those sort of things. Those things should have been preserved. You know, I don't know what the Westerns did, Western Kenya did. I don't know what any other Kambas did. We don't know.
The Swahili. The
Swahili people had what is it that they have that makes it a culture? Because we must preserve culture through art, through design.
That is powerful.
Yeah, we must preserve it.
And pass it on.
And then we pass it on, so that our children will know that it was not just only, it was his name. This guy, what's his name? This guy who just got born again the other day.
Kanye West.
It was not just the Kanye West shoes that have come around you, but they were akalas that our Maasais used to wear. They are colors that were done well for even other people to wear. You know, there was the rastas that the Maasais brought in a very special way. You know, so we have these things. All these wooden earrings that you see all the Western people trying to do with their ears, it is from Africa. You find them cutting and putting on wooden something. All these things came from Africa. Tattooing came from the arts that the Africans drew on their bodies. Yeah. So we have you understand? Yeah. So we have a lot of culture that we should reserve that we say, yes, it came from us. Yeah.
That's powerful. Let's talk about somebody interested in coming to the school right now. So, first of all, I'm really glad you have a school, because I can imagine how difficult it was for you. In fact, thank God that your parents were okay. In fact, let's start there.
Yeah.
I know I've gone round and asked many questions, but let's talk about just in today's day and age, at least kids can say, I want to be a fashion designer, and the parents will look. But what if a parent is looking at you and saying, I don't think so? What would you say to a parent?